The meditation for today uses words, images, and feelings to evoke a loving kindness and friendliness toward oneself and others. Let us begin this practice this morning by meditating in this quiet space. Let yourself sit comfortably. Let your body rest and be relaxed. Close your eyes. Relax the muscles of your face. Let your heart be soft. Let go of any plans or preoccupations. Breathe gently. Notice your breath, the inhale, the exhale. Breathe gently. Recite inwardly the following traditional phrases directed toward your own well-being. May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be safe from inner and outer dangers. May I be well in body and in mind. And as you repeat these phrases, picture yourself as you are now and hold that image in a heart of loving kindness. Allow these feelings to permeate your body and your mind. Beware, meditation can bring up feelings contrary to loving kindness, feelings of irritation, feelings of anger, and if this happens, be patient and kind toward yourself, allowing whatever it is that arises to be received in a spirit of friendliness and kind affection. May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be safe from inner and outer dangers. May I be well in body and in mind. Let us now expand our meditation to include others. Choose a benefactor, someone in your life who has loved you and truly cared for you. Picture this person. Hold them in your sights, and carefully let us recite the same phrases. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be safe from inner and outer dangers. May you be well in body and in mind. And let that image and those feelings you have for your benefactor support the meditation. Whether the image or the feelings are clear doesn't matter. Simply continue to plant the seeds of loving wishes, repeating the phrases gently, no matter what arises. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be safe from inner and outer dangers. May you be well in body and in mind. Expressing gratitude to our benefactors is a natural form of love. In fact, some people find loving kindness for themselves so difficult that they begin their practice with a benefactor. And this too is fine. Lastly, Let us spend some time wishing well to a wider circle of friends and community. Picture them, hold them in your sights, and let us carefully, again, recite the same phrases. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be safe from inner and outer dangers. May you be well in body and in mind. And let the image and those feelings that you have for your wider circle support this meditation. And whether the image or the feelings are clear does not matter. Simply continue to plant the seeds of loving wishes, repeating the phrases gently, no matter what arises. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be safe from inner and outer dangers. May you be well in body and in mind. Expressing gratitude to our larger circle is again a natural form of love. Self, others, let us continue to plant the seeds of loving wishes. Breathe gently. Notice your breath. The inhale, the exhale. And now, just for a moment, rest in the experience of your body. And then, gently open your eyes.
Whenever I get gloomy with the state of the world, I think about the arrivals gate at Heathrow Airport. General opinion's starting to make out that we live in a world of hatred and greed. But I don't see that. Seems to me that love is everywhere. Often it's not particularly dignified or newsworthy, but it's always there. Fathers and sons, mothers and daughters, husbands and wives, boyfriends, girlfriends, old friends. When the planes hit the Twin Towers, as far as I know, none of the phone calls from the people on board were messages of hate or revenge. They were all messages of love. If you look for it, I've got a sneaky feeling you'll find that love actually is all around.
Love is the only bow on life's dark cloud. It is the morning and the evening star. It shines upon the babe and sheds its radiance on the quiet tomb. It is the mother of art, inspirer of poet, patriot, and philosopher. It is the air and light of every heart, builder of every home, kindler of every fire on every hearth. It was the first to dream of immortality. It fills the world with melody, for music is the voice of love. Love is the magician, the enchanter, that changes worthless things to joy and makes royal kings and queens of common clay. It is the perfume of that wondrous flower, the heart, and without that sacred passion, that divine swoon, we are less than beasts, but with it, earth is heaven and we are gods. Robert G. Ingersoll.
So this morning I'm actually happy to see you, but fairly unhappy to see those donuts. Because I'm not able to eat donuts anymore. Like as of this week. Last time we got together, 2 donuts. This time, none. And the reason is, many of you know I suffer from massive joint pain. Like if you've ever seen me get up from a table and walk, the first few steps are pretty shaky because I have all this arthritis and all this problems with my joints. And this past week, Marty was going through some weird stuff, and so she decided to go gluten-free, to testing out different things. And so, sort of in solidarity, I went gluten-free. And horribly, I discovered that my joint pain diminished significantly. And I'm very upset about this. I talked to a friend of mine who's a doctor, and he said, he had read a book on it, and he said, it turns out that the strains of wheat that we've developed are nothing like the wheat that existed 500 years ago or 1,000 years ago, and it's not good for our bodies. And so a lot of people are gluten intolerant or whatever, and evidently I'm one of them. And I reflected on this, and I realized that my pain has been doing its job. I haven't been listening to it, but what it's been telling me is, make better choices. You need to make some different choices. You need to do something different. This ain't working. And then you make a choice, and then it starts to work, and you're like, that's a better choice for me. You got to make better choices. And so I was thinking about what we talked about the last time we were together, that thing you were saying about, the beginning with the very first single-celled organisms. That's why all we living things have senses and instincts and appetites, is to help us make better choices, is to help us, to keep us alive. And don't do this will kill you. Don't do this will hurt you. And if you're hurt, you won't be able to run away from that predator, and that'll kill you. Our instincts and our senses are to keep us alive. And we talked just a little bit about this last time, but this is the thought for this week is that we humans are especially lucky because as we've evolved, all these different animals have developed different sensing systems to figure out what's right, what they need, where the danger is. And we've developed conscious awareness, the highest of all sensory abilities. The ability to be aware of our surroundings and ourselves, to gauge our own, how am I doing? And one another. We have this ability that, as far as I know, is fairly unique, or at least there aren't many animals that have it, to remember past events and to imagine future possibilities. And those abilities, those senses, that awareness, that imagination, that's what's enabled us to develop an incredible array of tools and techniques and languages and cultures, all that stuff. Because we have that ability, we're able to be awestruck by beauty, or to pursue understanding, or to reflect on the wonders of the universe, or to experience love in that frothy Ingersoll way, right? We're able to do those things. Evolutionarily speaking, however, all those things, all those abilities are still just means to the fundamental goal we share with every other living thing. It's to survive and reproduce. But those are all ways to do that. They're amazing, and we appreciate them, but they're all ways to survive and reproduce. Like every other persistent plant and animal, our deepest loyalty is to life itself. Now, if you think about it, and that's what I appreciated, the things like education, looking out for your kids. If you think about it, that desire to live, to reproduce, to persist, it's why we're instinctively motivated to eat and to drink and to breathe and to sleep in a safe place and to have sex and make babies and protect them. It's also why we're instinctively motivated to band together into small groups, defined by a clear purpose and a shared understanding. Tribes, if you will. That instinct to band together to tribes. Like that's there because for most of our 200,000 year long history, human beings have been around for about 200,000 years. And for most of that history, out there in the big bad world, we do a lot better when we stick together. We've always done a lot better when we stick together. I mean, you know that's how we got this far, was by banding together. We weren't the fastest, we weren't the strongest, we didn't have the biggest teeth, but we cooperated, and that's what brought us this far. We're not the only ones, of course. The world is full of animals that survive and that thrive and survive in tribes, or herds, or colonies, murders, packs, parades. Do you see where I'm going with this? There are many different names for groups of animals. As a matter of fact, a fun trivia game would be to read off the name of the animal and try to figure out, gaggle. Wait, well done. I won't go on. I actually looked up 96 of them, but I'm not going to. We're keeping an eye on the time. What holds all of those groups together? I'm not telling you anything you don't know. What holds all of those groups together are complex codes of social behavior. Hierarchies, specific roles in hunting or child rearing, food sharing, conflict resolution. Bonobos do it their way. Chimpanzees do it their way. We like the bonobo way better. And those codes of social behavior make things work. Not just for the top dogs, or the top wolves, or the top elephants, but for all the members of the group, and for the group as a whole. That's what those social behaviors, that's what they do. They hold the group together, and they help it survive as a group. But the higher you move up the food chain, the more those social behaviors are driven not only by instinct, but also by powerful emotions, right? It's emotions that drive our social behavior in so many ways. And I don't want to sound all frothy here. I'm not just talking about empathy and compassion and reciprocal altruism, the beautiful sort of social emotions that we go that's great, pro-social behavior. I'm also talking about envy and suspicion, anger, jealousy, humiliation. All of those emotions, if you trace them back, if you look at them carefully enough, one way or another, they're all related to keeping us alive and well by keeping us together, by keeping us connected. And love, most of all, right? Love is the ultimate emotion when it comes to keeping a tribe together. Love emerges out of tribal behavior, it evolves, it emerges among higher animals. This kind of realization that my destiny is caught up with your destiny. That what happens to you really affects what happens to me, and what happens to him really affects what happens to our kid. And so we have to look out for each other. And what emerges is, from the need to look out for each other, an emotion emerges that says, that emotion is this weird emotion where I take pleasure in your well-being. Where I feel pain if I see you get stabbed. Even if I see a movie of you getting stabbed, I go, oh, that hurts. Because we've evolved these instincts, but these emotions, conscious emotions of feeling of connected to each other, that connect us to each other, that let us know that somebody has our back, or that we need to have their back, or that if somebody's hurting, it'll feel better to us if we encourage them. Not just to them, but to us. We have this instinct to care for somebody, and this desire to be cared for by somebody. Of course, things are very different now than they were 200,000 years ago, or even 200 years ago, right? For the first time, I think probably for the first time in universe history, a group of tribal animals exist that no longer need to be part of a group to survive, or even to reproduce. Like, I mean, seriously, we've gotten to the place where, like, you do not need anybody else to reproduce. Like, you can go to the bank, get your stuff, right? Freeze your eggs, like, put that together. You don't even need to carry the child. Like, you can reproduce, and you don't have to have a spouse. You don't have to have an extended family. You don't have to have a group of friends. Like, you can do it all by yourself. Indeed, in our Western culture, increasingly, don't you feel like that's the message? Be independent. You know, be self-reliant. Like, we value self-reliance. We go like, wow, I'm a rugged individualist. I take care of myself. Like, that's been an increasing message. I mean, not just in the last 5 years or 10 years, but over the last like 200 years, 300 years, maybe since the Enlightenment. As we've developed the ability to be more isolated, we've made it a value. It didn't used to be a value, but now it is. More and more people live alone, away from their families, apart from their neighbors, and disconnected from anything remotely like the tribes that we shared for most of the last 200,000 years, right? Like we know what that is. We've seen it in Aboriginal, films, and we know how we live now, and they're nothing to do with each other. And there's no denying the fact that we can totally survive without a tribe. I wish it wasn't so. It'd make a better t-shirt. It would make a better slogan for me. I could preach better if the truth was like, you won't make it alone. But of course you can make it alone. We can survive that way. But what I would submit is that most of us can't thrive that way. We don't thrive very well because although we're physically capable of being alone, we're not emotionally equipped for it. There's an epidemic of anxiety and depression. We're all aware of that, right? We all know people that are depressed or anxious, or we are people that are depressed and anxious. And it makes sense if you really think about it. Evolutionarily speaking, one way of saying this is our brains are telling us, like, feel bad, like, this is pain. Make better choices. Don't be alone. Like, it's not a conscious voice, but there's a little voice in our mind sending us a message. Sort of like my ankles were sending me a message. The old instincts are still there. We may not be tribal anymore, but the old instincts are there saying, listen, I need to belong. I need to be connected. I need to be needed. I need to be cared for. I need to learn from the older ones. Please, is there somebody older than me that can show me the way? I need to be helping to make the younger ones stronger. I need to be doing that stuff. And if we're not doing those things, if we're not experiencing those things, we get depressed, we get anxious, we get worried because, like, for most of the 200,000 years, if you weren't connected to all those things, you were going to die. All around us, we see people trying really hard to feel that way again, don't we? Like, if you look on social media, like, there's meetup groups everywhere. Like, everybody's like looking for a tribe. Like, and people are joining CrossFit. I'm looking for my tribe. And, people responding, like, they're in different groups. Like, they're looking, even in the secular community. Like, many of us came out of church. And when we started looking at secular groups, we would see, like, these groups getting together, atheist clubs and skeptic societies and all that stuff. And you got all these people trying really hard to make new tribes. But I've noticed something. It's funny. I did a podcast just recently where I sort of told my audience, like, hey, we're getting together in my living room and it's kind of cool and I'm excited about it. And all these people wrote to me and said, yeah, we tried something like that. And it faded out really fast. Like, it was really exciting for a while, but then it just sort of went away. I mean, right? You saw some of those emails too. And I was trying to figure, like, why did they all fade out? Why do, if people want this so badly, why do so few of them have it? And I think as best I can tell, is people are trying to build these new tribes around shared interests or around shared beliefs. Or around mutual attraction. Like, ooh, they're cool. I want to be part of, like, people are looking for people that are attractive or who are smart or who are funny or who like what they like, who believe what they believe. Like, I think you see it in the politics, right? Like, everybody's like, oh, who believes what I believe? I'll listen to that radio station, I'll talk to those people, and I'll go to those groups. And I think what everybody's really hoping is to fall in love, or to fall in friendship, or to fall in tribeship. You know, like, maybe I'll find people and they'll be the right people. If I just find the right one, we'll fall in love. If I just find the right group, I'll fit in. They're hoping to fall in love. They're hoping to experience love. They're looking for love. And here's, like, this is, like, if you're looking for, like, what's he trying to say? Where's the big transition? Here it is. We've evolved all these emotions: shame, anxiety, fear, joy, happiness, all these things, all these emotions to hold us together. But love is unique among those emotions. Love. There's something fundamentally different about love than all the other emotions that keep our social, even empathy, even compassion. Love is different. And you say, wait, but love is empathy. I'm like, yeah, it's part of it. Love is compassion. But love, the definition that I've got for love, says it's different from all those other emotions in this way. This commitment to each other, this sense of, like, I'll be happy if you're doing well, and I'll count on you to take care of me if I'm struggling. That kind of love, unlike all those other emotions, can be a conscious choice. Anger is not a choice. Something happens, what you do with that emotion is a choice. But the emotion itself is not a choice. You can't choose anger. Like, it just happens to you. You don't choose anxiety. It just happens to you. But love is an emotion but it can also be a conscious choice. You can decide to depend on somebody else, or to encourage them to depend on you. Love is, I have a friend who always his slogan is, love is a verb. Like, it's a thing you can do. You can decide to connect with other people. You can develop skills that you didn't have before, like, you can get better at it. In that sense, love is like, it's like a discipline, like judo, or playing the piano, or being really good at, like, Grand Theft Auto. You can get better at it if you practice it, right? And if you decide you're going to do it, you can get lessons, like, you can improve at that kind of love. I don't think you can improve at anger. You can only improve at managing your anger. But, like, the emotion is the emotion. But love is like, it's a verb, it's a discipline, it's a choice, it's a strategy. That's the word that we were using the other night. It's a strategy for thriving. It's not the only strategy for surviving. There are lots of them. Marty and I were watching a goofy video about all the different strategies that animals have for surviving. Most of them were like, hide, run, like, fight. But love is a strategy for surviving as a group, for building a tribe. That's why I think all those groups that we were talking about, they don't last very long. Not because there's not enough common interests or shared beliefs or common values or or interesting people. It's that there's not enough love. Love is the glue. The only glue I know that really holds a human tribe together. Love in that sense is just drawing a circle around a handful of other people and saying, if you will care about me, I will care about you. Like, not because you're smart or attractive or resourceful enough, but simply because you've agreed to care about me. I'll care about you in spite of all your flaws. Like, there's only one thing I need from you. Will you care about me too? Like, that's tribal love. Like, Whatever resources you have, I want to use them. Like, if you happen to have a sense of humor, terrific, we could use that. But like, that's not the criteria for admission. The criteria for admission is as simple as like, I will love you if you will agree to love me. I will care about you if you agree to care about me. I read this article a few years ago called The Case for Settling. It was written by this woman who was basically writing to other women and saying, like, while you're in college, like, you'll meet somebody and maybe he won't be perfect or she won't be perfect, but like, if they're good enough, you probably should grab them. Because she said, I held out for perfect, and my friend married a guy who was like good enough, and like, she's got a partner and they've got a house and they got kids and they're having a really good time, and like, most of the time it's not about are you head over heels with somebody, it's like, did they take out the trash, did you make the bed, and it's like, 99% of our lives, good enough is good enough. It was called The Case for Settling. It was a pretty interesting article. And in a sense, tribal love is all about the case for settling. It's all about going like, I'm not going to keep looking for better people. I'm going to get better at loving the people that are right in front of me. In a sense, I guess what I'm saying is like, love no longer keeps us alive. Love used to keep us alive. Now love makes life worth living. Which, I think if you ask Jennifer, she would say, no, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt your reverie, but I was saying,
I was, yes.
Yeah, when I say love is worth living, if I asked you, what you would say is like, oh, and making life worth living is another way of keeping us alive. Because when people decide that life isn't worth living, sometimes they end it. Don't get me wrong. Like, you can tell I'm in sales mode right now. And as I'm selling this, I don't want you to get me wrong. I am not saying you have to love everybody. Like, that's what I learned growing up. That was what I learned. Is that we were supposed to love everybody in the world. Like, and I heard songs about that, and we had T-shirts about that. Love everybody. And I'm not saying you have to love everybody, or even that you can. I don't think you can love everybody. I think the kind of love I'm talking about, it would have to be a small group of people. You have to know people to love them that way. On the contrary, I would say not only do you not have to love everybody, but you need to be really careful about who you do choose to love. Really careful. But again, that's why it's better to be in a tribe. Because if you're in a tribe of people that you trust and care and know care for you, and somebody new comes into that circle, you can take a chance on that person. Like, you're safe. There's safety in numbers. Like, we'll try to love them, and if they turn out to be an asshole, we'll kick them out. But like, they won't hurt us because we have each other. And so a group of people can absorb a person who maybe take a chance on them. Or maybe somebody who's broken right now and they can't reciprocate right now. But if we take them in and love them, we can rehabilitate them into a reciprocator, and then our tribe will be stronger. And you go like, well, why would you take a chance? You go like, because we can afford to. Because we love each other. A group can do a kind of loving that an individual just can't do. A group can care for somebody that would wear out any one individual. So I'm not saying you have to love everybody. I'm saying you got to pick who you love, and you got to pick carefully. And I'm also not saying that intentional love is the only strategy for thriving, for human thriving, or even that it's the best strategy. I'm not going to go, this is the best way, or this is the only way. Like, I am not interested, like the rest of you, I am not interested in that kind of dogmatism. I'm not interested in proclaiming a message that I know what's best for everybody. Okay? I'm sure there are some people for whom that kind of mutual love, that kind of tribal connection is anathema, and it wouldn't work for them. All I'm saying is this, is that intentional love, picking somebody, drawing a circle, and saying, I'm going to cultivate a sense of responsibility to you, and I want, if you'll cultivate one towards me. All I'm saying is that's the way I choose. And frankly, that's the way any tribe I would ever want to be a part of has to choose. I'm not interested in a club of people that all think the way I think if they don't love me. I'm not interested in a bunch of people that are attractive and funny and enjoyable to be around if they, like, I don't care how much fun they are. If they don't love me and if they don't want me to love them, I don't want to be connected to them. I've been trying to think of a fucking t-shirt slogan for the longest time. I really have. Because remember that church I talked about last time that had the like, life is a gift and love is the love is the point. I thought, like, what a great. I don't agree with that sentiment. I don't think it's right. Like, it sounds good, but like it's a great T-shirt. I don't have a great T-shirt slogan, but if I was printing T-shirts right now, I think it would go something like this: life is our inheritance. It's what we get from our. It's given to us. Like, it's all this evolution. Like all this process. Life is our inheritance. Survival is our instinct. Love is our strategy. It's not everybody's strategy. It doesn't have to be yours. The group of people that wear my T-shirt, or that I want to wear their T-shirt, they would all say, on some level, in some way, shape, or form, love is our strategy. It's the way we're going to get through this. It's the way we're going to thrive. So there's a thought. Think on it.